All right, for more on this great win, as the Eagles now get to 10-2 with a legitimate shot for 15-2, we turn to a man who has seen it all, except he has never seen a 15-2 Eagles team, but he might be seeing it this year. Ray Didinger is brought to us by Verizon. Phones are not made to be broken, but life, it happens. So when your phone breaks, Verizon's got you. Trade in any phone at your local Verizon store in any condition guaranteed and get a great deal on one of their best 5G phones with unlimited ultimate, the Diddy, Ray Didinger. Ray Diddy, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Joe. How are you?
Boy, Ray, if you're doing good, what's the Eagles' defense? Ray, they are doing great. Can you talk about what you saw from this defense yesterday?
Very impressive in multiple ways. I mean, you and I could talk for an hour about the defense and every phase of the defense, starting with the coaching, starting with what Vic Fangio did yesterday, and what he's done all year in putting this thing together. I mean, right now they're really clicking. One of the things that I guess a couple things that jump out at me are how Jalen Carter is playing. The stat sheet doesn't really do justice to just how disruptive and dominating he is on the inside now. I mean, he's got, he had a good stat line yesterday, obviously, but his impact on that was even greater. I mean, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, 3 tackles for losses. I mean, that's pretty good. But down to down, just watching the way he was controlling the middle of that defense, and Davis too. To slow down Derrick Henry, it was really impressive, and the way the back of that defense, the way the linebackers and the secondary are playing, compared to where they were this time a year ago. I mean, I had somebody yesterday say to me, "Yeah, well, this is exactly the time last year when the whole Eagles season fell apart. Remember, they were 10-1, and then they go into this collapse, and by the time they get to the playoffs, you almost got no hope that they can do anything."
Well, right now we've established a brand new defense. Like if it were last year, we'd be emerging with a brand new defense right now with a new play caller, a defensive play caller right now.
Correct. Because you've got, it's the difference of night and day, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense this time last year, you were changing defensive coordinators.
It was complete disarray versus this year. It feels like it's so cohesive. Our defenders, they feel just like they understand completely, and it's sound. And why is it, man? How on earth, Ray, have you seen Jalen Carter's ever before in your time here in Philadelphia?
There are stretches when he reminds you a lot of Jerome Brown. I mean, I think that's if you're looking for a comparison, that would be it in terms of a guy who's playing on the inside, and is able to dominate the way he does, and get the kind of penetration and get the kind of pressure on the quarterback that he does. I mean, that was what made Jerome special. But Carter's even bigger. I mean, he's got and he's as quick, out of his stance. So there's
amazing.
that. But I mean, if you look at the contrast of this defense versus the defense of last year, that was starting to show some cracks, obviously. If you talk about this defense, it's younger, it's faster, and it's more physical.
How about all that?
And it's better coached.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those things have combined to put them right where they are. I mean, and the play. I guess the offensive play of the year, maybe in the entire league, is going to be will always be for this year. Will be Saquon Barkley's reverse hurdle against Jacksonville. That'll be right at the top.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a signature play on the defensive side, a signature highlight film clip, it's probably just Cooper DeJean picking up Derrick Henry and putting him on.
I think so.
Put him on his butt. I mean,
sure.
If the Saquon Barkley play against Jacksonville sort of speaks to what the Eagles' offense is right now, well then Cooper DeJean's open field dump of Derrick Henry speaks to what the defense is right now. And put it all together, it's winning football right now. And the Eagles are playing with tremendous confidence, and that was not an easy game yesterday. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens are a good team.
Right.
They're a tough team to beat at home. They came in ready to play, and the Eagles did what they've done a lot this year. They kind of Rocky Balboa it. They take some punches in the early rounds, but they just keep coming, and they just wear you down. And in the second half, that big offensive line and Saquon Barkley just take over, and they did it again yesterday against a team that nobody ran on all year until yesterday.
Ray, a lot of names on our defense get praised this season with great reason. We love the stories, behind our linebacking core and the young defenders and everyone else. But, man, what about Jalix Hunt yesterday? I saw something yesterday that I didn't expect, and it was Jalix Hunt. It was a glimpse of, I'm just watching a play, and it was a shockingly explosive edge presence, and that was our guy, and he was Jalix Hunt, and he ended up with a sack. He ended up, shocking some people with his hands yesterday. How well is he playing? How well is he fitting in? I like the fact that he's got half the snaps now in this game. That was good to see. I think he's really improving. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, for sure. And he was really an unknown because he came from such a small school. In a draft where everybody was excited, obviously, about the drafting of Mitchell and DeJean. Nobody kind of mentioned Hunt very much because nobody knew very much about him. But the coaches liked him right from the beginning. I remember during preseason, during training camp, the coaches were talking about him a lot, about what they saw in this guy, and the way they felt like people were talking about, and I kind of was talking about him as a developmental guy. He's a guy you're going to bring along slowly, and this will be a learning kind of year, and maybe down the road he'll be a player. And the coach kept saying, no, he's way more advanced than that, and he's going to get his opportunities to play this year, and we think he's going to play well. And the conversation came back even more this week with the injury to Brandon Graham, when everybody starts asking the obvious question: okay, who's going to step up there? Who's the next man up, and who's going to pick up the slack for Brandon Graham, who's a great player? And Vic Fangio said Jalix Hunt right away. And obviously it was something that was going to be shared. I mean, Nolan Smith was going to have to continue to play well, which he has, and Josh Sweat was going to have to do his part, which he has. But the guy who was going to have to come in kind of from the wings and take over at a time when you're making a run at maybe a championship is Jalix Hunt. And you're right, John. Yesterday he was very impressive. He's a rangy looking guy, but he's quick, and he doesn't seem confused out there. I mean, he always seems to be going in the right direction. He always seems to find the football, and he's tough to block because he's a long arm kind of pass rusher. And when they send him, blockers have a hard time getting on top of him because he's got that kind of reach. And he's still learning as he goes. Obviously, I mean, this is a whole new level of football he's never played before. But the physical talent, there's no question that's there. You saw it on special teams earlier. When he wasn't getting many defensive snaps, he was always one of your better special teams players coming downfield. Mm-hmm. And now that he's getting an opportunity to play from defense, it's obvious that he's up to the challenge. And they're going to need him. I mean, they're going to need him because if we continue on the road that we're on now, they're going to be playing some big games next month.
Ray, there are those among us, and I'm pointing a finger at Joe, but I'm not saying his name aloud. Oh, wait, I did. Who don't really trust this offense because of the quarterback.
Well, hold on. Offense, well, I'm not sure you're framing
hold
up.
Hold on. Go ahead. 3 minutes of possession in the third quarter. The up and down nature of the offense, it is concerning, especially to some.
Well, I'll just say this, Ray. It's not normally up and down. It's normally down and then up. They did have one drive in the third quarter. It didn't go well. They barely had the ball in the third quarter. It is just, Ray, it is so strange that they can't start fast, and then once they start, they generally don't stop. It's just a very weird dynamic that I have not been able to decode. One theory is that Jalen runs more as the game goes on. I think that's clear. But what do you make of the why of how they don't start fast and then they just crank it up?
Well, I think the second part of that's pretty easy to explain. Which is the big physical nature of the offensive line and the pounding of Saquon Barkley, allows them to take control of the game in the second half. They just wear people down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question about that. In the second half of the game, regardless of the opponent, good, bad, or indifferent. And yesterday you were going up against probably the stoutest run defense in the NFL. And there was a lot of legitimate questions being asked about, okay, we've seen the Eagles have smacked people around and bullied teams and worn them down in the second half, but are they going to be able to do that to the Ravens? Are they going to be able to do? Let's see. Well, you saw.
Yeah.
I mean, in the second half of the game, and you sure saw it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That they just broke the Ravens. They just broke that defense, and nobody else in the league had been able to do that.
That's what it looks
like.
And
the Eagles did.
Yeah.
Now, the other part.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ray. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the other part of it is the slow starts, which now we're into December and it's still a thing. We're still talking about it, and is it concerning? Yeah, a little bit. I don't. Yesterday, I mean, they just seemed out of sync. They seemed disturbingly out of sync in all phases at the beginning of that game. The special teams were bad. They looked confused. All the penalties you had. Jalen was 0 for 4, 0 for 5 at the start of the game. It just didn't look like anything was. It just didn't look like things were together. And maybe they're just a little tight. Maybe they're just a little. They knew the stakes here, and they knew the team that they were playing, and they knew that Baltimore's really tough at home late in the season, and so maybe there was a little bit of anxiety that contributed to it. But once they got it going, then they physically took over. I think that one of the things that helped was on the drive to the Goddard touchdown was they went a little up tempo. And that seemed to get them going. And that seemed that a couple times this year when they've had slow starts, they've come out and they don't run full no huddle exactly, but they definitely pick up the tempo of the game. And it seems to serve the offense well. And it might be something they might want to think about putting in earlier in the game to just to kind of get them going. I thought when I looked at the game, to me the biggest play of the game, and there were a lot of really big plays, obviously.
Can I take a guess, Ray?
Go right ahead.
The first punt by Braden Mann. I'm serious.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. And Mann, Mann has been really good all year. But I thought yesterday in a game where your offense was struggling early, and you're playing against a dangerous offensive team, the highest scoring team in the league, with a great quarterback and a great running back, field position was going to mean a lot. And Mann had 6 punts, and 5 of them he put inside the 20, 2 of them he put inside the 10. And he's been kind of doing that all year. I mean, we've been giving a lot of credit to a lot of people on this team, and justly so. I mean, you look at where they are right now. But his contribution should not be overlooked. But that was not the play I was thinking of.
What do you got?
To me, the play I was thinking of was the pass to Goddard, the 3rd and 7 pass that extended that drive. It's a 14 to 12 game midway through the fourth quarter there, and it's sort of in the balance, and it's really Tucker's missed some key kicks that he normally doesn't. That's allowed you to keep the lead, but it's 14 to 12, and you basically didn't have the ball at all in the third quarter. Now we're in the fourth quarter. You've only converted 1 third down in the whole game, and you're facing a 3rd and 7. And do you really want to give the ball back to Lamar Jackson again in this spot? I don't. And on 3rd and 7, they went to that play that they have gone to in this situation a lot, which is that little delayed tight end shallow cross that is really good. I mean, Goddard runs it really well. He delays a little bit, lets the field clear, then runs that shallow cross, and Hurts laid it right on the money. And they converted that one, and then they get the first down there. They get to midfield. The next play, Barkley rips off 14. The next play, Hurts runs a quarterback draw for 11. The next play, Barkley's out the gate for the touchdown, and you got control of the game. But if they don't hit that 3rd down pass to Goddard to keep the thing going, who knows? I mean, I thought that was such a big play, and they've gone to that play a lot in that kind of a spot.
Sure have.
With tremendous success.
Ray Didinger with us now, as he is every Monday at this time. By the way, reminder, the Odyssey app. Everyone get it. Trust me, get it. It's so legit. All these interviews we do, if you miss them, you can. If you have to get out of your car soon to go to work and you missed Seth Joyner today from 9 to 10, listen to it later today. It's all there. All the interviews are going to be there. Sirianni tomorrow, Jaws tomorrow, Brandon Graham this week, Jason Kelsey this week. They're all there. Get the Odyssey app. And reminder, this is a week we're giving away tickets to the next Eagles home game, courtesy of NovaCare Rehabilitation. So listen, 8 o'clock the next 4 days as we give you a clue, we give you a name, and know those 4 names because on Friday you can win the tickets. Ray, as great as yesterday was, and Saquon was a big part of it, was it a slight step backwards for his MVP candidacy given what Josh Allen did late night primetime?
Well, no, Barkley doesn't take a step back, but Josh Allen takes a big step forward. I think that's what that was not by no means a bad game for Barkley.
Of course not.
He goes over 100 yards against a defense that hasn't given up anybody more than 60 all year, and I think it is going to come down to those two guys. I think it is going to come down to Allen and Barkley, and they're both been great, and they have been the guys who have carried their teams. There's no doubt about that. What you're going up against is it has become a quarterback's award. I mean, no running back has won it since Adrian Peterson in 2012, which is a long time ago. But, I mean, if you look at the Eagles right now and you look at what Barkley has meant to this team in this season, it's hard to argue against it. And I think one of the things that helps him, I mean, we talk about the fact that this award skews heavily towards quarterbacks, and that's undeniable. But the thing that I think works in Barkley's favor is that he has had so many great games and great moments in prime time.
Yep.
I mean, some of his biggest games have been standalone primetime games with everybody watching. I mean, the Brazil game, his first game as an Eagle, is a 3-touchdown game. The game against Washington is a Thursday night game. The Sunday night game against the Rams is a huge. I mean, it's a huge game. It's a nationally televised game. So he's had a ton of great moments this year. But they've all been sort of primetime moments, which means everybody has seen them and everybody's talking about it. And yeah, I think he's right into discussion. I really do. I heard somebody say over the weekend that the Eagles have never had anybody win an MVP award. The MVP award. That is not true.
It was Jim Nantz, and it was ridiculous that he said that. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Van Brocklin won it in 1960.
Yeah.
He was the MVP of the regular season and the MVP of the championship game. So it's happened before. It hasn't happened a lot. I mean, the Eagles haven't exactly dominated. But the fact is, it has happened before. But you've never had a running back do it.
Yeah.
And it's hard for running backs to win it. But how do you deny what this guy's doing this year? I mean, he's on a pace to break the all-time record.
Yes,
and
he certainly is.
One of the things, he's done so many amazing things this year, so many amazing things, so many plays that he's made that are just, are jaw-dropping, that one of the things that I just noticed now the last 2 weeks that's maybe as amazing as all, at the end of these games, with the load that he's carrying and the pounding he's taking, when he does the on-the-field interview, he's not even breathing hard. We've all talked, and John and I, and you, Joe, we've all talked about the load that he's carrying and the number of touches he's getting, and is he going to make it through the season? You look at him at the end of these games. I mean, he looks like a guy that you're stopping, at the King of Prussia Mall to do a man on the street interview. I mean, he's not sweating, he's not breathing hard. I mean, his level of conditioning just has to be one of the most amazing things about this guy, because at the end of these games, as hard as he's playing and as much as is being asked of him, you'll talk to him at the end of the game where he looks fine. I mean, he looks like he could play another game now. So, it's been an amazing thing to watch this thing play out, and I think he is right there. I think it's he shoulder to shoulder with Josh Allen for the MVP award. I would be shocked if anybody's even in the discussion. I mean, Lamar Jackson, as good as he's been, I don't even know if he's in the discussion now.
No, he's done. He's done.
I think it's down to two guys.
Yep, I agree. Well, look, 5 losses for Baltimore, so I think Lamar and Derrick Henry were both eliminated yesterday. All right, Ray. Final thing for everyone listening: great Christmas gift, Tommy and me. You kidding me? I mean, what a gift this Eagles holiday season. You kidding me? What a great gift this December it would be to get. Now, Ray, I mean, you don't have to get it to anybody. You give Tommy and me to the Delaware Valley.
Yeah, it's coming back in January, and I'm happy to say it. People keep asking me all the time, is Tommy and me coming back? Is Tommy and me coming back? And I'm happy to say yes, it is. And this January will be coming to an all-new theater, the People's Light Theater out in Malvern, which is a beautiful place. And I mean, with the way this Eagles season's going, all the excitement that there is around this team, and it's going to continue into January. So come on out and see the story of the 1960 team that won a championship when they were still playing at Franklin Field. Tommy and me will be at the People's Light Theater in Malvern pretty much the whole month of January. We open January the 7th. We run through the 26th. Just go onto the website of People's Light Theater and order your tickets. And you're right, Joe. They make a wonderful Christmas present.
Hey, Ray, we love having you on the show. It's so great to talk about this Eagles team with you and to do it on a weekly basis. We look forward to next week. Thank you, Ray.
I always look forward to talking to you guys. Have a great day, fellas.
There he is, Ray. The Hall of Famer, Ray Diddy.